There's a story in the Times. Could Rachel Reeves raise taxes? She promised not to do it. I interviewed her, and on several occasions she said, read my lips, or, well, that's what I said, no tax rises.
Yeah.
But
everything's been fully costed for until they found the 22 billion.
Right, looking increasingly possible.
Well, the thing is, this is looking like it's likely to happen because the OBR has downgraded our growth forecasts for this year. But maybe that has something to do with the fact that she raised taxes later last year. So it's kind of a catch-22. She might have to raise taxes, but then that will have the adverse effect on economic growth. And so she's at a point where really she has no choice but to cut public spending. And when the government is announcing sort of 10,000, was it 100,000 new communities or whatever, how do they square that with the fact that there's literally no money and growth is nowhere to be found?
Well, there is some good news. It's been announced this morning that the UK economy unexpectedly grew at the end of last year. I think it's not a explosive figure. Nobody's going around doing jazz hands in a party. I can't imagine Rachel Reeves doing that anyway. But by 0.1%, isn't it?
That's a rounding error.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a rounding error?
They might as well have.
But when the expectation was a 0.1% cut, you're quite right. No jazz hands, no celebrations. Don't get out the champagne or the chocolate cake, however you celebrate. But it is better the economy is growing. She's got away with it by the skin of her teeth there.
But what can she do for growth? I mean, she's hedged everything on growing the economy, on planning and so on and so forth. You know, but there's lots of people out there saying that she has, for want of a better way, really shafted small businesses, which are the kind of backbone of the economy with the rise in national insurance.
The very smallest are exempt from the national insurance rise. But you're right, the national insurance rise in April on employers, not employees, will reduce growth. You can see that there in the figures. But at the same time, she's got the problem of an NHS on its knees, and we just talked about mental health services. If you're going to improve them, part of the answer is spending more. That was her choice, as well as the black hole. You can just discuss how big the black hole was, but she got a poor inheritance, and it's how do you plan for the longer term, the 5 years, or they'd probably call that the medium term.
Right.
It's very difficult. She's got choices to make, and none of them are easy.
Yeah, they aren't. But last week, the Bank of England halved its growth expectations, according to this story in the Times, suggesting the economy would expand by only 0.75%.
Over 4 years.
Yeah, it makes kind of depressing reading.
Yeah, but the International Monetary Fund, they forecast that the UK economy would grow more than any other major European economy over the next 2 years.
The big elephant in the room.
There's lots of different forecasts. None of them are brilliant, unquestionably the case, but Britain isn't alone in having problems.
The thing is, the big elephant in the room here is clearly energy. We have the highest energy prices in the developed world, and that's a huge driver for why businesses are reluctant to invest in this country. It's not just about the fact that one organisation is saying it's 0.5 and the other is saying 0.75. The forecasts for Britain for our economic growth are abysmal, and there's a reason behind that. We have ignored the price of energy and how uncomfortable it is for businesses to invest in a country that looks like it's not addressing the systemic issues. We live beyond our means. It's too expensive to do business here, and we live like we were in the
So are you a drill baby drill person?
Well, yeah,
Frack?
Well, I am for energy independence. If we had invested in nuclear energy, for example, back in 2011 when Nick Clegg said that it wasn't feasible, we wouldn't be in the situation where we have to rely on Norway and France, for example, France for its excess nuclear energy production. That they invested in.
Well, I mean,
they're leading the world.
Your view, Esther, it seems to me, is that there are a lot of MPs that don't exactly know what they're doing. They don't necessarily have...
I'm shocked.